No, but, and you see these magnificent fields, and they're ruined. And you know what they don't tell you about windmills? After 10 years, they look like hell. You know, they start to get tired, old. You got to replace them. A lot of times people don't replace them. They need massive subsidy from the government in order to make it. It's really a terrible thing. And what they want to do is they want to get rid of all petroleum product. That means you basically won't have any factories in the United States. So tell me, though, how are you going to win Texas when you say, we're going to get rid of all petroleum, right? If you win, how about this guy, Beto? Beto, he was a beauty. Beto came out, he's from Texas. He came out against religion, he came out against guns, and he came out against energy, oil, right? So he's against oil, guns, and the Bible. Abraham Lincoln can't win with that platform in Texas, I can tell you right. No, we're doing it right. We're doing it right. And you know, our numbers environmentally right now are better than they've ever been before, just so you know. Because I'm an environmentalist, I am. I want the cleanest water on the planet. I want the cleanest air anywhere. Crystal clean water. I want perfectly clean air. And we have the best numbers right now that we've ever had, meaning in the last 40 years. The coming months will decide whether our country will be governed by a corrupt, failed, and far-left ruling class, or whether we will govern our country. Will it be governed of and by the American people? That's what we're talking about. On every front, the extreme leftists, and they are leftists. Thank you. Now, if you want to drive them crazy, go 16 more years. You'll drive them crazy. On every front, the extreme leftists who control so much of the media, which is, I can't say totally corrupt, but I'll say almost totally corrupt. And you see it now more than you've ever seen it. And you know, I see it better than you because I'm involved. In other words, we call up and we say, that story is wrong, would you please make a correction? And they say, no. We say, but the story is wrong. They say, we don't care. They don't care. These people are really corrupt and dishonest, okay? And it's a shame. And we have some great journalists, we have some great people, but the level of the media corruptness, and you know, it would be so great for our country if they in fact were straight and honest, but they're really not. And nobody can, I can't tell you how bad it is. The Washington swamp, and nobody knew how bad that was either. We used the word swamp. We thought it was okay. We'd wipe it. These people are crazy. They're vicious. They're totally out of control, but we're knocking them down pretty good right now. They're waging war on the values and principles that have always defined America. They're trying to silence, censor, and punish anyone who dissents from their oppressive ideology. You know that. They want to hound conservatives. You see what they do. You see what they do. The reporter who was beat up, but so many others. But they only go after people that aren't fighters. They only go after the non-fighters. I could tell you some stories. They don't go after the tough ones. We have the toughest people. But our toughest people don't need to do that, and hopefully they never will. Hopefully they never will. But we have incredible people. But they always go after people that are non-fighters, people that are not going to do anything bad other than they'll write or they'll put down their feelings, and they just decimate them. And they have to be careful because you can't do that. You can't do that. They want to, where is Hunter, by the way? Where is he? Where's Hunter? He's a guy made no money. Then all of a sudden he's making a fortune. And I watch as Biden is being interviewed. While this claim is totally unsubstantiated, no, it's not. And when Biden got up and made the quid pro quo, the likes of which I've never seen before, right? They're not going to get the $1 billion, $1 billion, unless they get rid of the prosecutor. You see it? Everybody saw that. Dan? And if you say it, they say, oh, it's terrible what he said. You see the debate where they practically apologize? I'm sorry, sir, for having to ask you. Because while it's totally unsubstantiated, and then they talk about his son, here's a guy made no money, had no energy experience, no nothing. And he's making millions. But, you know, forget about Ukraine. How about when he went to China, okay? And he walks away with $1.5 billion to manage. And I went to the biggest guys on Wall Street, the smartest, the biggest guys you all know of. I said, let me ask you a question. Is that possible? No, we can't do it. And these are the smartest guys, most respected. They have, you know, many trillions, billions of dollars of funds that they manage. No, it's not possible. Not with China. They don't do that. He gets $1.5 billion. And then if you say, oh, by the way, that's not all, other countries are now coming out. And it only took place when this guy became the vice president. Oh, I hope he wins, because he will never, ever be able to answer these questions, okay? Ever. The fake news can do whatever they want to do. He will never, ever be able to answer why a guy who is making absolutely no money is making millions and millions of dollars a year when companies that there are those that they say they were corrupt, but they want to blame all of us. And I'll tell you what we've done is we've kept our country solid and grounded. That's what we're doing. We're doing a very important service. We're performing a very, very important service for the future of our country. I can tell you, Charlie Kirk and the whole group, very important. Because the radical left, socialists, or in many cases, I hate to say this, beyond socialists. You know what the next word is, right? Beyond. I won't say it. If I say it, even if I'll retweet it. I won't say it. There's too many cameras. You know, I said to Charlie last time I spoke, I said, let's not have any press so we can have, but you know what? There's always press. There's always press. There's even people here with a cell phone. You think you're doing us favors, and you're not doing us any favor. But there's always press. But no, I won't say that comment. I can imagine what most of you are thinking. But anyway, he's going, come on, please. But they want to ban believers, you know that, from the public square. They want to indoctrinate children with a far-left ideology in our schools. You see what's going on in the schools. Kids come home and they tell their parents, what the hell is happening here? No, it really is true. It's a problem, and it's a problem that has to be taken care of. The Democrat Party is trying to shred our Constitution, tear down our history, erase the nation's borders. They don't want to have any borders. By the way, didn't you love the fact that I got funding for the wall? We're building it anyway, you know. Building it anyway. You know, the only thing more popular than the Space Force, you know, I do go back to polling, right? So I'd say Space Force, and everybody went crazy all the time. The first time I mentioned it, like a year and a half ago, I said, someday we're going to have a Space Force. The place goes crazy. Probably Star Wars people or something. Who the hell knows? No. But the place went crazy. I said, hey, there's something to that. And I'm not doing this for political reasons. We need that. That's the next frontier. But the only thing more popular always is the wall. And it's being built. But now we have funding. And you know, it's funny. I got that one through as part of the defense bill, because you know what? The Democrats don't like the issue anymore, because they know we're right. When you see what's happening over there, they know we're right. They sort of let that one sail through. They got tired of that wall fight. That wall fight was not good for them politically, I can tell you. So we've built almost 100 miles already. It's going up rapidly, and it's the real deal. So do you remember when they always used to call themselves the Democratic Party? It sounded better, right? The Democratic, everybody, you, me, everybody. Yeah, the Democratic Party. No, it's not. It's the Democrat Party. It doesn't sound as good. That's why I use it. It's not as good for speech. I hate it, you know, in a way, because I'm saying the Democrat Party. The Democratic Party sounds better, but we're not here to make them look great, right? And you know Schumer, crying Chuck, this guy gets angry at people when they say the Democrat Party, because it doesn't go. They should probably change the name. I'll give them a little free idea. But they call it the Democratic Party, but it's actually the Democrat Party. So let's call them the Democrat Party. That's what I do. I don't like it because in a speech it's not as beautiful. They'll say, we didn't like Trump's speech. You know, it's a funny thing. They never talk about my speaking ability, and yet I've never had an empty seat. I'm trying to figure it out. It's true. No, it's true. And when all else fails, they pursue an illegal, unconstitutional, and hyper-partisan impeachment. They go with the impeachment thing. Some of these extremists may call themselves Democrats, but they really don't believe in democracy. They can't. They can't believe in democracy. Generations of patriots before us didn't work. Look, we had people, they want to work. We have people now that maybe it just doesn't work for them. But generations of patriots before us did not work, fight, and sacrifice so that we could surrender our country to a raging left-wing mob, and that's what's happening. While they want to punish America, we will fight to preserve America, and that's what we're doing, and you're doing it incredibly well. Together, we'll stand up to socialists. We will defend our nation, the greatest and most glorious republic in the history of this world. And you know what? The best is yet to come. You know that, right? Each of you is coming of age at a critical moment in our country's history, and your spirit is so unbelievable. Your spirit, through thick and thin, has been unbelievable. The level of excitement in the Republican Party today is greater, in my opinion, than it's ever been in the history of the Republican Party. I really believe that. Never been this way. In fact, they have polls, enthusiasm polls, they call them, that have us at a level that we've never been at before. The Democrats always had the edge on that. We are higher than them. We have more enthusiasm. They are cutting themselves up. They don't know if they're down the middle, if they're far left. They're fighting with each other. And that's okay with us. But you know what? After we win the election, let's see if we can put everybody together, because it would really be a great thing. Let's see if we can put everybody together. But we have to win the election, and I think we have to win the election big. And you know what does bring together? Two things. Bad things, really bad things happen, and people come together, and really good things. And let's do it the good way. We're doing so well as a country. People are doing so well that I think it's going to bring people together. It's starting to bring people together, believe it or not. We're facing an opposition willing to use totalitarian methods to get their way, and you see it. Think of what the Democrats and their deep state allies have been caught doing. They spied on my campaign. So, you know, we have a reason to be angry, folks. We have a reason to be angry. They spied on my campaign. And I said it 2 years ago. I said it 2.5, 3 years ago. But now it's come out. They spied on my campaign. If this were reversed, you would have had people in jail for years already. Years. They defrauded the Pfizer court. The Pfizer court is highly respected. They totally defrauded the Pfizer court. They concealed exculpatory evidence. They knew a few days into the Russian witch hunt that it was nothing. It didn't exist. Did you see the other day? Crooked Hillary came out. Did you see the other day? She said that Jill Stein from the Greenie Party, she said Jill Stein was a Russian agent. Now, I don't know Jill Stein. I'm sure she's a fine woman, but I know she's not a Russian agent. Then she said, Tulsi Gabbard is a weapon of Russia. And they lost all credibility, because we know that Tulsi Gabbard, and I give her respect, she didn't vote the other day. I give her a lot of respect. Because she knew it was wrong. She took a pass. But I don't know her, but I know one thing. She is not an agent of Russia. Now, what they said about me 3 years ago, took me 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years of phony, horrible hits where they hurt a lot of people. They hurt a lot of innocent people. 2.5 years. But then when they said Jill Stein, they mean it too. They perpetrated the Russia hoax, the biggest lie ever told to the American public, and they encouraged an unelected group of bureaucrats to thwart the will of the American voters. Our opponents have spent every waking minute of the last 3 years trying to overthrow the election of 2016 and, at a minimum, to sabotage the election of 2020. That's not going to happen. We're not going to let it happen. And if it did happen, and if they were successful, they will destroy this country. Remember that. They will destroy this country. And that's why it's more important than ever to drain the swamp, and we're doing that. Despite everything the failed ruling class has thrown at us, and don't forget, when I came here, I didn't have great experience. I mean, I learned quickly. I've been a very good spokesman. Have I done well as a spokesman? But we went through 8 years of Clinton, 8 years of Bush, 8 years of Obama. So we have Bush and Clinton and Obama. So that's 24 years. That's a lot of people they put in. It's thousands and thousands of people, and they fight you. And we have Republicans, frankly, that are worse. These never-Trumpers. You have never-Trumper Republicans. In some cases, they're worse than the Obama and the Clinton people. They're never-Trumpers. These are the dumbest human beings on earth, okay? They're the dumbest human beings. We give them the judges, we give them the great military, we give them low taxes. We had the greatest tax cut in the history of our country. We give them all of these things, right? And they just hate me. If it was Jim Smith, President of the United States, they'll say he's the greatest president that ever lived. But with me, they can't get over it. But there, fortunately, aren't too many of them left. But they are sick people. There's no question about it. But despite crooked leadership at the top of the FBI, they were crooked, they were dirty cops at the top. FBI, great people. But at the top of the FBI, you had dirty cops, deep state sabotage, 18 angry Democrat prosecutors. These were all put in there to destroy us. Think of what we did. You heard Rush. Think of what we did. Think of where we've come. How vicious it was. They had 13 angry Democrats that were smart, vicious, evil, and it built up to 18. They had 49 FBI agents, thousands of subpoenas, hundreds of people, and they found nothing. There's nobody in this room that could have gone through that and found nothing. I really mean that, too. It's incredible. They found nothing. How clean am I? Now, think of that. But endless congressional investigations. But think of it, hundreds of people interviewing everybody and they found nothing. The Mueller report came out, it was a total dud after 2.5 years. They have a baseless impeachment, millions of pages of fake news propaganda because the news was totally on their side. It's a Democrat, it's part of the Democrat Party. It's a wing, the media is a wing of the Democrat Party. And all of the Washington powers, they were all arrayed against us. They're losing, we're winning, and we're succeeding in our mission to make America great again. And just in closing, look, there has never been a better time to be young and to be American. Your future and the future of our nation is unlimited. We've created more than 7 million jobs since the election, including 266,000 new jobs last month alone. For everyone graduating into the workforce this year, there are now more job openings than job seekers for the first time in the history of our country. young people like you have seen their wages rise by more than 10% since the election, a number that has not been surpassed. Median household incomes are the highest in the history of our country. Real household take-home pay gains will reach up to $10,000 a year. Never happened. Under President Obama, it was $975 for 8 years, right? Median income. Under President Obama, $975. Under President Bush, it was $450. Under President, and that's 8 years, $450, $975, right? 3 years, but really less. 2.5 years when the numbers came out. Under President Trump, per family, more than $10,000. That's why the economy is so good. Unemployment among young Americans has reached a 63-year low. And I just want to tell you, look, I am so proud of what we've done with the employment numbers. I am so proud of what we've done with African American and Hispanic American numbers. So while our opponents have abandoned African Americans, and they've abandoned, you know what they do, Terrence? They come up, and before the election, they start courting the African American. The election is over, and then they leave them. We did just the opposite. What we've done for Hispanic, for African American, for minorities, what we've done is unprecedented. It's unprecedented. And you remember my phrase, you remember the phrase, right? What do you have to lose? Remember that? I was reading stats, and the stats were terrible. Highest crime rate, highest this, worst income, worst this, worst education. I'm reading these stats. There were 10 of them. And I looked at the audience. It was largely African American. I say, vote for me. What the hell do you have to lose? Remember? Right? And some of my people didn't like it, but I said I have to say it because it's true. And they did vote for me, and we won the race, and now we're setting records. And I'm so proud of those records that we're setting with African American at every category and with Hispanic American and Asian American. Every day we're welcoming more and more people to our movement from every background. Traditional Democrats, independent, union members, you see the way we're growing, and we're growing untraditionally. We're taking in workers now. We're taking in people that had great jobs and didn't have them any longer because the fools that ran our country were letting these companies leave, and they were leaving, and everybody was out of work. But we're not doing that anymore. So we've changed the system, and the Republican Party is growing like nobody's ever seen before, and you're going to see that. And remember, we did well in the 2018 election. I wasn't able to go out, other than Andy Barr and a couple of people, I wasn't able to go out and work for the House members because I had to win the Senate. And we picked up 2 seats, and nobody talks. We picked up 2 Senate seats. We got up to 53, and nobody ever talks about that. And it's the Senate that has to confirm the judges. After years of rebuilding foreign countries, we are finally rebuilding our country. That's what it's all about. And thanks to our tireless efforts to secure our southern border, illegal crossings are down 75% since May, and we have ended catch and release. We have cracked down on illegal welfare abuse. We have massively reduced asylum fraud. We have achieved record prosecutions of chronic immigration violators, and the southern border wall is going up at a much faster rate than anybody thought possible. One of the gravest dangers we face is the menace of a thing called sanctuary cities. The far left's embrace of sanctuary cities demonstrates their scorn and disdain for everyday Americans. Sanctuary cities deliberately release dangerous criminal aliens out of their jails and right onto our city streets. I want to commend Florida and its terrific new governor, Ron DeSantis, for banning sanctuary cities. We believe our country should be a sanctuary for law-abiding Americans, not for criminal aliens. The open borders agenda of the radical left causes profound harm to poor, working-class Americans. Their extreme policies overcrowd schools and hospitals. They drain vital public resources, deplete health care dollars, and place enormous burdens on taxpayers of every background. It also brings them to our country. If they didn't get it, we wouldn't have millions of people trying to get in. By one estimate, illegal immigration costs Americans more than $200 billion every single year. When it comes to setting immigration policy, we always remember the sacred truth. Our first duty and our one true allegiance is to you, the American citizen. Throughout the Western Hemisphere, we are facing down the evil forces of communism and socialism. I've taken historic actions to confront the brutal regimes in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and we stand with the people of those nations in their righteous struggle for freedom. To those who would try to impose the horrors of socialism on our country, I say to you again tonight, America will never be a socialist country. Right? Never. We will always defend our beloved Constitution in the face of belligerent left trying to crush organized religion. We are standing strong for religious liberty. We are protecting the conscience, you know this, and the rights of doctors, teachers, nurses, and groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor. And we are fighting for the lives of the unborn. We are also firmly protecting the Second Amendment and your right to keep and bear arms. And it is under siege. It is under siege, but we are protecting. Don't worry. In addition, we're safeguarding your First Amendment right to free speech, including online and on campus, and Charlie Kirk knows that very well. I've issued a historic executive order stating that any college that refuses to let you, meaning you, but anybody, speak, stands to lose billions and billions of taxpayer dollars. We give them all of this money, and then they don't let you speak. Well, we just ended that. I also took, we call it bold action, but let's just call it action, this month to confront anti-Semitism on the college campus. Our message to these universities is simple. If you want to accept federal funding, you must reject anti-Semitic hate and hate of all kinds. So earlier this year at Binghamton University, a few conservative students were promoting an event featuring the renowned economist Art Laffer. Where is Art Laffer here? Art Laffer, where is Art? You know, we gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Everybody loves Art Laffer. They were surrounded by hundreds of radicals screaming at them in vile terms. On the day the event, and this was incredible, occurred, a mob flooded the place wearing masks and red armbands and acted tough. Take the mask off, take their jackets off. You'll see the arms are about this big. They swing clubs, they swing bats, they swing everything. One brave freshman student who faced them down is with us tonight, Lacey Ketchicher. Where's Lacey? Lacey, come up. Lacey, come up. Come up, Lacey. Come up, Lacey. And by the way, what president gives you this kind of time? Does any other president? I said to Charlie, could I give you the B or the C or the D or maybe even the F job? The F job, you know what that is? I stay up here for about a minute and say, hi, everybody, and I'm gone. He said, could you give us the A job? We're giving you the A job. We're giving you a lot of time. Lacey!
Thank you so much, Mr. President. So what a lot of these protesters, these leftist tyrants ultimately, what they didn't know about me is I do jujitsu. So even though they're protesting me, they don't really know that I'm just standing there completely calm while they're going off unhinged ultimately. Really what we need to do is we need to bring back freedom of speech on our campuses. We cannot let these radical leftists continue to suppress our speech. Given that we're at a turning point event, we all have the God-given right to express our point of view and to be able to have our inalienable rights. We cannot let our individual freedoms in terms of liberty be unhinged by these leftist liberals who are going to try and shut us down. We need to fight back together. We need to come together. We are America. We're conservatives. We need to join as one and fight back against this nation of liberals who are trying to suppress people like me and you. God bless you guys, and thank you so much, Mr. Trump. Thank you.
Thank you, Lacey. Great job. Every young person in this room has a vital role to play in the never-ending mission of defending the America we love. The future of our nation depends on the courage and devotion of its young people. It depends on all of you. Conservatives and patriots cannot and must not surrender our cherished institutions and culture to the radical, America-hating left. We must have the heart, which we have, and the tenacity, which we have, to preserve them, protect them, and reclaim them. Our nation badly needs more young people like those here tonight to study up, work hard, and then go into government, go into journalism, go into media, go into teaching, and yes, go into academia, and retake these institutions, rebuild our culture, and take back our country. In everything you do, wherever life takes you, each of you must be a proud voice of our great nation. You must be a powerful fighter for liberty. You must be a confident champion of justice. And you must never lose faith in our values, our nation, our destiny, and in our grace and the glory of Almighty God. With your help, we are making our nation safer and stronger and wealthier and prouder and greater than ever before. And as I look around in this big, beautiful, very full room of brilliant young people, a couple of older ones that I know, but we won't even talk about them. They're good people, but you had your chance. But I have to tell you, you have great people in this room. You have our great future leaders in this room, and you are going to have an incredible life, but you're going to do very, very important things. And there can be nothing more important than protecting our great country. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie.